In the afternoon, accompanied by Kiri and a guard, we went off to explore. We found no dragons, but as we thrashed recklessly through the undergrowth, we encountered instead a bird. And it was one that I felt very much at home with. I have a well-deserved reputation for being something of a gadget freak, and am rarely happier than when spending an entire day programming my computer to perform automatically a task that it would otherwise take me a good 10 seconds to do by hand. 10 seconds, I tell myself, is 10 seconds. Time is valuable, and 10 seconds worth of it is well worth the investment of a day's happy activity working out a way of saving it. The bird we came across was called a megapode, and it has a very similar outlook on life. It looks a little like a lean, sprightly chicken, though it has the advantage over chickens that it can fly, if a little heavily, and is therefore better able to escape from dragons, which can only fly in fairy stories, and in some of the nightmares with which I was plagued while trying to sleep on Komodo. The important thing is that the megapode has worked out a wonderful labour-saving device for itself. The labour it wishes to save is the time-consuming activity of sitting on its nest all day incubating its eggs when it could be out and about doing things. I have to say at this point that we didn't actually come across the bird itself, though we thought we glimpsed one scuttling through the undergrowth. We did, however, come across its labour-saving device, which is something that it's hard to miss. It was a conical mound of thickly packed earth and rotting vegetation, about 6 feet high and 6 feet wide at its base. In fact, it was considerably higher than it appeared, because the mound would have been built on a hollow in the ground, which would itself have been about 3 feet deep. I've just spent a cheerful hour of my time writing a program on my computer that'll tell me instantly what the volume of the mound was. It's a very neat and sexy program with lots of pop-up menus and things, and the advantage of doing it the way I have is that on any future occasion on which I need to know the volume of a megapode nest, given its basic dimensions, my computer will tell me the answer in less than a second, which is a wonderful saving of time. The downside, I suppose, is that I cannot conceive of any future occasion that I am likely to need to know the volume of a megapode nest, but no matter. The volume of this mound is a little over 9 cubic yards. What the mound is an automatic incubator. The heat generated by the chemical reactions of the rotting vegetation keeps the eggs that are buried deep inside it warm, and not merely warm. By judicious additions or subtractions of material from the mound, the megapode is able to keep it at the precise temperature which the eggs require in order to incubate properly. So, all the megapode has to do to incubate its eggs is merely to dig 3 cubic yards of earth out of the ground, fill it with 3 cubic yards of rotting vegetation, collect a further 6 cubic yards of vegetation, build it into a mound, and then continually monitor the heat it's producing and run about adding bits or taking bits away. And thus, it saves itself all the bother of sitting on its eggs from time to time. This cheered me up immensely, and the good mood it put me into lasted all the way back to the visitors' village and up to the precise point when we walked in through the door of the hut which we had been assigned as sleeping quarters. It was quite large and constructed, as I've said, on stilts, for obvious reasons. However, the wood of which it was built was half rotten. There were damp and stinking mattresses in the small bedrooms, ominously large spiders' webs in all the corners, dead rats on the floor, and the stench of an overflowing lavatory. We tried gamely to sleep there that night, but in the end we were driven out by the sheer noise of the rats fighting the snakes in the roof cavity, and eventually took our sleeping bags down to the boat and slept on its deck.